Well, hello, oddballs. It's your host, Bobby.
And your co-host, Lexi.
And this is Oddities on Elm Street. Oh, well, I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday.
Holidays,
because by the time you're hearing this, it'll already be New Year's. Yeah, well, it's almost New Year's already.
Yeah,
we're counting down like less than 4 hours.
Yes, this is our celebration.
Our New Year's Eve celebration.
Crazy gals.
So, if you noticed, we skipped uploading last week so that we could spend some time with our families. We were also supposed to have a blizzard.
I was also very sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were sick. There was a lot. There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
This blizzard, though, very disappointing. I think they way overcalculated. I was like preparing for the worst storm of my life. I was serious. We went
down.
We got a bunch of like gas for the generator. We went grocery shopping, stocked up on formula and diapers. We were ready. But I did see that Buffalo got hammered really bad. And I was actually seeing on TikTok that people were like taking videos of dead bodies buried in the snow. Yeah. And like their stores were being looted and stuff.
Dead bodies in the snow?
Yeah. Like homeless people.
Oh my god.
There was another guy who I guess was like on the way to the store and he just, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he like had hypothermia or fell down and couldn't get back up. I have no idea. I know that guy though was confirmed that he was like a real person in that video. It wasn't just like a prop or anything because his family reached out and wanted the video taken down.
Yeah,
to like protect,
sense.
You know. So yeah, that's insane. And like people were like stuck in their houses. I kept seeing people like showing the snow covering the entirety of their door. So
you have to like dig
for people
out.
that have dogs, it's like,
what do you do?
Where do they go?
Like, do they literally plop them in the bathtub?
I don't know.
I don't know either, man.
I've never had to think about that.
What if there's a fire?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oi.
Scary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into our topic, we do have a major update on the Idaho
I saw it, but I didn't look into it because I knew you were going to tell me about it.
Well, good. No spoiler alerts. So yeah, they have arrested somebody. 28-year-old Brian Koberger. He is being charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and felony burglary. Which I know from Up and Vanish that burglary doesn't necessarily mean that he went and robbed somebody. I think in a lot of states it means that he entered a premises without permission to commit a crime. Right. So Brian is a graduate student at Washington State University, which is only a 12-mile drive from Moscow, where the victims lived. Also, I think it's important to note that during his time at Washington State, he studied criminology and criminal justice. He actually just completed his first semester in the criminal justice program earlier this month. Yeah. So, police were able to place him at the scene by tracking that car that we talked about in the last episode.
Right.
Then they were able to, I believe, they were able to match his DNA that was recovered at the scene. So, I guess an FBI surveillance team had been tracking him for 4 days while they were waiting for the warrant to come in. And he was in Philadelphia at the time of his arrest. It's still unclear if he knew the victims personally, and the probable cause affidavit is staying sealed until he returns to Idaho.
Interesting.
So he's going to have a court hearing January 3rd. He's being held without bail. and hopefully we'll have more answers and a motive for this awful, awful, awful crime. So yeah, that is that. And obviously we'll continue updating everybody.
Was he just like hiding in Philadelphia?
I don't know if he was hiding or if he was there to visit family for Christmas. I'm not 100% sure.
I can't imagine like doing that and then like just going to my family events for Christmas.
Right. Like everything is normal.
Right.
That's, yeah. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming that they probably like staked out and watched him because he was like a flight risk, which is probably why they are not releasing him with, bail.
Right.
So I guess we will find out. Hopefully they're going to answer some questions on the 3rd. But yeah, they announced all of that at their their what is it called? Press conference on Friday, I believe, last Friday. So, well, we today are going to talk about
torture.
So my lovely bestie here, Lexi, decided that she was going to pull off the best surprise in history of surprises. She basically like showed up at my house and was like, "Come on, bitch, we're going to Chicago." No, actually, that's not what happened.
I kind of wanted to, but I was like, I would want time to prepare.
Yeah, I think, if you would have showed up, I would have been like, all right, well, you're going to have to, like, sit down for, like, an hour while I get ready.
I know. That's what I wanted to avoid.
But it was still, like, pretty badass. Especially because you, like, messaged my mom behind my back. Like, I love that.
Well, I did what I had to do. I don't know what to tell you.
Yes,
someone had to watch your baby. It wasn't going to be you or me.
Yeah, bringing him to the torture museum is probably not a great idea. But yeah, so if you remember, God, what was it? Like
I don't know
2 or 3 episodes back. I don't think it was last week they were talking about it. I think it was a while ago.
Okay.
But yeah, we talked about the torture museum.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying that you had been there, and
No, I was saying that I wanted to go, but no one would go with me. And then you're like, I would go.
Oh, I thought you had already been there once.
No, first time for the both of us.
Well, that is even more special.
Oh my gosh.
But I wanted to go. I said I wanted to go because I love Chicago and I love torture.
And then we went.
And it was probably one of the coolest experiences ever. We took lots of pictures and videos. I still have to post them on my Instagram and Facebook for everybody to see.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can find those on my Instagram at Bobby Curtis Lee. A little plug from self-promotion. But it was really cool. I liked the fact that as soon as you walked in, it was decorated like the catacombs. Because that's like one place that I've always wanted to go to.
Yep.
I'm obsessed with the catacombs. We need to do an episode.
Next trip.
I wish.
I'll just call up your mom again. Hey, Penny, can you watch Bowie, please?
Watch Bowie for like 3 nights while we fly to Paris.
Like a week.
I actually was supposed to go when we went to Paris. I'm really upset about this still. Like, I have hatred in my heart.
Boy.
This was like the only reason. Well, it's not the only reason, but it was one of my main motivations for wanting to go to Paris, was so I could see the catacombs.
Well, yeah.
And we went there and we were going to like the little ticket booth and everything, and there was a sign that was in French and we couldn't understand it. So we were like asking people that were waiting outside of this gate. The freaking tour guides were protesting. God. And you can't go without a tour guide. You know, I mean, you could sneak in, but it's illegal.
It's like that movie.
As Above, So Below.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Love that movie.
You guys could have pulled that off.
Absolutely not. We wouldn't be here today. But yeah, it was, the museum was cool because it was like, it kind of felt dungeony. Like it was really
very dark.
Dark, yeah, poorly lit, but it was an amazing experience.
Very interesting.
But yeah.
Very interesting that as we were leaving, I decided to ask the question.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my
god. As we're walking through Bob and I are like, do you think anything is like real? Because nothing is in cases, like what you would expect in a normal museum. Like, you can't touch this, but they had like everything out, and
they were encouraging you to touch
little
it.
arrows.
Like, pull here.
Yeah.
I remember touching the penis thing until I realized it was a penis thing, and then I dropped it. God. Because they had a sign saying, touch this. But yeah, they really encouraged you to, like, take lots of pictures and videos and, like, to interact with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turned to you and I was like, these are just replicas, right? And you're like, I don't know. And I was Googling it, remember? And I couldn't find an answer.
Yeah.
So we went down to the ticket lady.
As we were leaving, and I'm like...
As we were leaving, as we had already rubbed our Piggly Wigglies over everything.
Ooh.
And she's like, oh yeah, so I guess like 40% of everything's real, but we don't know what. I'm like, are you kidding me?
What?
Am I going to be possessed?
I know.
And I didn't even wash my hands afterwards. Anyways, yeah, while we were there, we're like, oh my God, we need to talk about this on the podcast. So that's what we're doing today. So yeah, we're going to talk about the most brutal torture devices that we got to learn about.
Oh my gosh. Maybe not all so brutal. Maybe some that are just like,
mischievous.
Interesting.
Wacky. Weird.
Wonky.
Wonky. God, I still can't get over that. I was touching shit that people got murdered on.
I touched the pear. And I'm like, if that is fucking real.
Are you going to talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I was going to spoil it.
Coming.
But... Okay, good. So anyways, do you want to go first, or should I start us off?
Gosh. All right, I guess I'm just going to go for it, guys.
Go for it.
This is not my job, right? So Bob is obviously way better than me, and it's fine. Okay, I deal with plants, not
oh my
this.
God.
So bear with me, please. The Spanish tickler is my first one, otherwise known as the cat paw.
It was awful.
Oi. It was very widespread in the Middle Ages. Another name is the flesh rake, which that one kind of gets me the most. That's probably my favorite name for it. I feel like it's the most accurate.
Yeah, exactly. Most
gets
accurate
the point
depiction.
across. Yeah. So has 3 long metal prongs with sharp claw-like ends. Okay, and it was used on thieves and unfaithful wives.
Oh my God.
Yes. So most often the victim would be stripped naked, hung up, or like tied to a table. And then sometimes the prongs would be like red hot before tearing in, or just the plain old metal claws, right?
Yeah.
So most often they would tear flesh from the bone on the victim's back, their stomach, their chest, sometimes their limbs, and even sometimes their face. Oh my God. It's like
the face. Oh my God, I wish people could see my face right now.
Yeah. And so these, like many other torture devices, were never cleaned, which caused death by infection if the claws themselves didn't kill them. So,
yeah. Imagine that was a big problem.
Yeah. No Neosporin.
That is terrible. Terrible, terrible.
And you just, like, in the museum, you see this lady, like, laid flat on a table, and they, like, put this creepy fucking mask on.
Looked like Slipknot.
I know. It was, like, black, and then, like,
it had nails.
Silver, like, spikes on it.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, going to town on this girl's back, and the girl's face is, like...
Do you think they got enjoyment out of that?
Who?
The torturers. What are they called?
Oh.
They showed multiple of them, and remember, we were like, you an ugly bitch.
I don't know. I feel like Probably some of them. Probably some of them were like given the job because they are that way. I mean, I have no idea. That would just be my guess. But
Well, how could you do it if you weren't either numb to it or enjoying it? It's wacky.
Just gotta get your paycheck, man. I don't know. Yeah, so there's my first one.
All right.
Your turn.
My turn. All right. So I will be talking about torture by animal. There were 3 different kinds that we saw in the museum. First one was torture by snake, which is pretty self-explanatory. So the accused would be thrown into either a pit or maybe a basket, sometimes even like a huge leather... That one was welling up inside.
I knew it was coming. Okay.
So yeah, they'd be thrown into a pit or a basket, and sometimes even like a huge leather sack that was sewn up.
Oh my god!
So that they couldn't escape. So
and there's
obviously,
no airflow.
Yeah, obviously there were lots of poisonous snakes in this pit or basket, whatever. And when you're bit by a venomous snake, like your blood clots, your blood vessels leak, your tissue dies off. Like you're basically just in excruciating pain. And depending on the snake, like obviously there are different like experiences or whatever.
Right, like how poisonous is their venom.
Right, so you could like go blind, you could have convulsions, you could become paralyzed, your throat could swell shut. So there's a number of ways that these, people are dying from the pit of snakes. And it could also kill you within 20 minutes, or it could last 72 hours. Some people were in there for over a month. Yeah. And this shocked me when I found this out, but this isn't just a practice that was long ago.
Oh my god.
This was actually... Oh my god, this is awful. The Indonesian police were actually caught performing this form of torture to interrogate a man that they were accusing of stealing cell phones. And that was in 2019. So,
no!
Yeah, somebody uploaded a video in 2019 showing a huge snake wrapping around the suspect, like ultimately making him confess. So yeah.
Oh my god.
It's still a thing, apparently. Yeah. So the next torture by animal method was torture by insects, and obviously most of us true crime fans know that insects are responsible for like most of the decomposition process, like maggots, for example. But can you imagine insects eating you while you're still alive? This was a pretty popular method of torture, and it was called scaphism. Scaphism is believed to have begun with the ancient Persians, and the process varies with each culture, but ultimately it goes like this. The accused would either be stuck inside of a hollowed out tree trunk or stretched out onto a stake in the ground. Sometimes they were even planted directly on top of an anthill.
Ooh.
They were then covered head to toe with sugar and honey, and then little by little insects would land on them and devour their flesh. The flies lay eggs and maggots would eat them from the inside out. Your face right now. Oh my god.
Oh.
It's so bad. Like how... Oh god.
Are they like hands tied? Like, so they can't like do anything?
I would assume so. I mean, there were also like reports of them like making like specific holes in the tree trunk for your hands and your feet and your face, so those were the only parts exposed. And then bees would like just come and sting you repeatedly and stuff like that. So I'm not 100% sure, but like I said, it varies from place to place. Still just awful. And then the last type of torture by animal in my mind, is the worst,
Mm-hmm.
and that is torture by rat. And this was really popular. Like, this was a very normal thing.
Yeah.
And
it was your first time hearing about it, though, at the museum.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was.
I don't remember where I heard about it, but...
Yeah, it gave me chills.
Gnarly.
It's believed that the Dutch invented this type of torture during a war in the 1600s, but it also has, like, a record of being performed in other places, like the Tower of London, which I've been to.
In the tower?
Yeah, and remember what I told you about, like, the carvings on the walls by the prisoners? Those were people that they were, like, torturing for, I don't know, treason, war crimes, stuff like that. And it was also widely practiced in ancient China. So how it works is a pottery bowl filled with rats would be placed upside down on the nude body of a prisoner. When hot coal was piled onto the bowl, the rat or rats would gnaw into the bowels of the victim to escape the heat.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder how long that would take. Like, I feel like
That's a great question.
I feel like you just have to go through so much agony. But
yeah, like, at what point do you die?
And I don't know.
They chew all the way through you. Yeah.
Is the rat in your stomach and you're still alive? This is what I wonder.
I thought they did it on the chest too.
Sometimes they do it on the chest. Sometimes they do it over your belly. But it's like, are you still alive when the rat is inside of your body? Like, what do you die of?
That, right, like...
Blood loss? I don't know.
Or, like, eventually the good old infection that everyone fucking gets back then because a rat chewed through you.
But that could take weeks.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Ugh.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I don't like it.
Me neither.
I'm going to do... This one's not, like, brutal. It's just more interesting. The Mask of Shame. These masks freaked me out, though.
Mm-hmm. Again, Slipknot. That's what they reminded me of.
There was one that was, like, a pig head.
Yeah.
And that one probably freaked me out the most. I feel like it reminds me of some movie or TV show that I watched involving...
Like Saw. There was a pig head in Saw.
Yes, but that's not what it's more of like a sacrificial thing that I feel like I've seen. I don't know. But it is creepy. And they have all different versions of the mask. And I guess, so it was very popular in England for about 200 years in the 16th century. These masks were most often used on women who spoke their mind, were accused of gossiping, eavesdropping, or gluttony.
I just want to say I would never survive those times.
Nope.
I do all of those things on a daily.
Oy. Yeah. Yeah. It was used as a tool to remind women what their role in society was. To be a submissive wife, serve men, and to have children. You don't need to be gossiping or eavesdropping or speaking your mind. That is not what you're here to do, ma'am. The mask would often have a spiked rod that went into your mouth so that the woman couldn't speak. They also couldn't eat. And the mask was a symbol for the townspeople to spit, beat, and humiliate the mask wearer. So if she's just like going to get some bread downtown, she's gonna get spit on her way down there and beat and mocked and humiliated, sometimes in mob form.
Like, who administers that? Like, is it the husband? Is it the priest? Is it, you know what I mean? Like, who?
You just got a mask on the shelf and...
I have a fire boiling inside of me right now.
Yeah, it is messy. And I guess, like, there's, you know, different time spans.
Oh, so, like you'd be punished for a certain amount of time based on what you were caught doing?
I guess. I didn't see, like, a rubric.
We need to find the chart.
But it was, like, from hours to, like, a few days even. Yeah.
Without eating or speaking?
They could,
my God.
They could lose a few pounds anyway.
Take away our humanity. Why don't you?
Right?
Jesus.
Oi. And then, so there's another one that I feel is kind of in the same category. It's more so funny to me. Medal for drunkenness.
Oh my God. I loved that.
At the museum, they had, like, one that you could go and, like, pretend is around. Like, you have the medal of drunkenness. So I got my picture taken.
How heavy was that?
17 pounds. So, and this is what it said, the little plaque at the museum.
Mm.
Another way to combat alcoholism was introduced by the Russian someone the Great.
Okay.
In 1714. The offenders were forced to wear a large medal weighing 17 pounds anywhere from a few days to a few weeks around their neck. And bartenders and bar owners were forbidden to serve anyone wearing this medal.
I feel like some people would wear that as, like, a symbol of pride.
I don't know.
It kind of reminds me of, like, Frank from Shameless. Have you seen Shameless?
Oh, yes, he would for sure have the medal on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
For sure. Yeah, but it's just like this, like, star-ish
yeah.
thing that you, like, they just chain
it's
around your
just
neck.
A chain.
And then you got this 13-pound chain on while you're withdrawing from alcohol.
Probably very cranky.
Oi.
That one is funny. I was hoping you would talk about that.
Oh, gosh. And then I guess I'm going to do one more small one. I don't have, like, hardly any information about this, but when I saw it, it made me just...
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the flute.
The knee crusher.
Oh, God.
So it was used in medieval prisons, and it's basically like a mouth of sharp metal spikes that you could crank closed, and then they would put it on your knee or, like, any other joint. So, like, you put it around your knee, then they start just cranking, and then you got spikes going through your knees or any.
So it's not even
joints.
Like a quick, swift movement of just like
no. It's just
little by little,
just tightening and
oh my God,
pure agony, I would assume. And I can't stand thinking of, like, I don't know why, but, like, my knees just feel so vulnerable.
Not the knees. Do an elbow, please.
Any day, elbow over knee.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Oh, yeah, God.
But just like, oh, like, what do? You can't.
Do you know, like, what the crime, like...
All I could find is that it was just used in their prison, so probably just
whatever.
Just, hey, you're here.
Let's
here's some torture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah. So, the knee crusher. Oi.
Don't want to mess around with that. My next one is, oh my God, as soon as I walked around that corner and I saw this, it, like, gave me a pit in my stomach.
Yup.
And I wish I could get the image out of my head. So that is the Spanish donkey, or sometimes called the wooden horse. There were several different variations of this method, but they all kind of operated in the same manitor. Like a janitor. Yeah. So, like its name suggests, The Spanish donkey was devised during the Spanish Inquisition and was used to punish non-believers. The victim of this horrific practice was stripped naked and bound with their hands behind their back. They were then placed on top of the wooden horse with weights tied to their feet. But it's hard to, like, explain.
It's not a horse. It is not a horse.
Right. It is not a horse at all. It's basically like a triangular piece of wood. Okay. The person had to straddle this, like, sharp edge of wood. And they sometimes even remained on the wooden horse until they bled out. Out of those who were fortunate enough to walk away, some were left infertile or permanently disabled. And some victims were even reported to have split in half because they would continue to add weight to their feet until it just ripped you in half from the crotch up. So obviously that type of death did not happen quickly. It was a very long and agonizing process. And it still hurts my
Yahuwah.
my cooter to think. I think that one really, like, struck a chord with me because I just gave birth. Like 6 months ago. Yeah. And I don't ever want to have to experience anything like that in my life.
Did you see the one that they had with spikes on it?
I was trying so hard to forget.
Sorry.
No, I did see that. And I saw that in my research too. And I was like, nope. Exit. But yeah, pretty brutal stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So, I have the manual guillotine. Am I saying that right?
Guillotine. I hear people say it both ways.
There's L's in it. I don't know how to...
there's L's. I mean...
I don't know.
I don't know either. So, I think it's guillotine, but I've heard people say guillotine.
Okay. So, it's the same concept as your run-of-the-mill guillotine, right?
Okay.
But instead of using gravity and a sharp metal blade, they use a wooden wedge and a hammer.
Jesus.
So the wedge would be placed on the victim's neck, and then the executioner would take a large hammer and swing until the victim died from their vertebrae being crushed.
And that's not, like, in an instant.
That is, it is far more painful than your run-of-the-mill guillotine.
Yeah, because with the regular guillotine, you're just being, like, decapitated instantly.
Right. Like, I'm sure I can't imagine, like, the feeling of going up there and, like...
But I have heard that, like, sometimes the guillotine didn't work, and then they had to finish the job.
Oy.
Yeah.
Oy. I don't know. That, like, a wooden wedge. Like, how sharp do you think that is?
It's
do they use the same
dull.
one every time?
Probably.
I would assume. So it's probably got blood and nasties on it. And you don't die from the first blow. They just keep on swinging. Like,
I remember when we saw that, it reminded me of that scene in Midsummer. Oh. Do you know which one I'm talking about? It's kind of a spoiler, a little bit of a spoiler alert, but remember the guy jumps from the ledge and doesn't die? So then they have to go up there with, like, stone instruments and, like, beat him in the head to death.
Yeah.
That movie's messed up, but I love it.
Right? Ugh. Oh, Midsummer.
Something wrong with this.
Okay, then, the Iron Pair which I
Lovely.
touched, which was one of the more realistic looking ones. So got that to do with my life. So it was used in the 16th century and most often used to get a confession out of a woman being accused of being a witch.
Oh my god.
Right. So
what
like,
is their obsession with... I don't get it.
I don't know. It was whack. Because, you know, you have the trying to get this confession out of you, which is torture. And then if you confess, they burn you at the stake. So it's
or
like,
they drown you. And if you drown, then you weren't a witch. And if you float and you can swim, then you are a witch.
burned.
And then you get burned at the stake
It's
or
like,
hung.
who the hell thought of this?
So either way, you die.
What rubric is this?
Right. There were actually a lot of things at the museum that had to do with witchcraft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which
so many of the... Yeah.
doesn't surprise me.
Mm-mm.
But...
it's still just like... we don't think about it.
yeah.
And then... like...
we don't think... you don't... I guess nobody really talks about the fact that a lot of these women were tortured into giving confessions.
because someone accused them of being a witch.
Right.
Like...
right.
because...
and how do you prove that you're not?
You don't.
You know? You don't. You're gonna die anyways.
Okay, insert witch scale, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah, wasn't it like... so they had like this wooden platform that you would stand on, and it was literally just a scale. And I think it was like if you were less than 99 pounds, you were considered a witch, which...
that is not
not less than... I am not less
we
than
are
99
good
pounds.
to go.
We would have survived this era. But it's just ridiculous, like the things they come up with. So,
let's weigh them.
yeah, they would weigh these women, and if you were less than 99 pounds, you were considered a witch.
Yeah.
What kind of logic is that?
There's none.
I
don't know.
Oh my god. You know what the problem is?
What?
Men. They're the root of all of this. Let me just point that out. But
Men,
anyways.
please keep listening. Okay, back to the pair. So, it was a pear-shaped device that had 4 movable walls, all equipped with, like, sharp metal spikes. And so, once inserted deeply into any orifice, the walls would open up, causing tearing in the throat, vagina, or anus. Any of them. Which, you know, can cut you up real bad and give you some solid internal bleeding. And if that didn't kill you, this is another one that also was never cleaned. So, infection, here we come. Yes.
God, all the stuff with the vaginas, just...
Or, like, I didn't do anything researchy, but they had, like, the anti-masturbation ring for the men. Like a spiked frickin' thing that goes around your ween. I don't know how it prevented you from masturbating, but it looked horrible.
I don't know. But the chastity belts...
yeah, that was weird. Like, how do you go to the bathroom?
Question!
I don't
That's
know.
a question I never thought to ask.
That's always my question. I have to pee so often. Like, how is this gonna work?
I don't know. That's a good
Literally
question.
thought about that even with your Spanish horse. I'm like, you just gonna
go on
pee and then you're gonna
yourself.
pee on your insides? Like,
Yeah.
what?
They don't care.
I know.
What are they gonna give you a bathroom break?
I don't know.
They were saying that...
Excuse me.
They were saying that, like, one of the women that is most famous for, like, having this done to her, she was forced to sit on the horse for 8 hours, even though she confessed after 3.
I did read that
Yeah.
somewhere. That is so messed up.
Right.
Like, okay.
God.
Like, what do I have to do now? I gave you what you wanted.
Right. Yeah. God. It's just...
This is another small one. It was hard to find a lot of information on some of these, but this one really also made me... burning of the eyes.
Oh my god, even just the little picture for that,
I
like,
know.
creeps me out.
So it was used in the Dark Ages, but then adopted by military concentration camps in the 20th century.
Mm, yeah.
So sometimes they burnt your eyeballs with a red hot iron prod, I don't know, but they just literally had red hot metal and would burn your eyes, causing you to go blind.
Mm.
Or they would use this thing called the sprinkler, which had either molten lead or boiling oil,
Oh my god.
which they would kind of get your other extremities wherever, and then they would end it by pouring
Pouring it
into your
eye.
eyeballs, killing you. Yes.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god.
That is messed up.
Okay, so last on my list is the Fork of the Heretic. This was also mainly used during the Spanish Inquisition. I feel like they came up with some really messed up stuff.
It was quite a time to be alive, I'm sure.
The Fork of the Heretic.
And remind me what a heretic is.
A heretic is someone who differs in opinion from like the established religion in that area. So I believe during the Spanish Inquisition it was Catholicism or Christianity.
I would assume, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure. But this thing was literally just pure evil. And the thing about it is that it didn't harm any vital points. It actually like completely avoided death and only prolonged your pain and suffering. So this was like a true torture device.
When I read that, I was like,
yeah, my mouth like fell open.
That is
like
fell
evil
open.
It fell open, bro. It was gaping. Yeah.
For real though. I mean, oh. Okay, sorry. Go on.
No, the creator of this is like evil genius on another level.
Yes, like very, very thought out.
Yeah.
Not just like your simple, I don't remember which one I read that was like, it's a simple and efficient way.
Oh my god. It's so like nonchalant.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, this instrument, it consists of two forks set against each other that penetrate the flesh under the chin and then the other end into the upper chest. So if somebody was being accused of being a heretic, this would serve as one of your punishments. The way that it worked is that it ultimately like forced your head back into this super unnatural position, but you couldn't just like slam your head down onto the fork to get it over with and just end your life.
Get it done, yeah.
The fork was crafted perfectly down to the millimeter so that it wouldn't kill you even with like a sharp thrust.
Not getting
of
that
your
jugular.
head. Yeah. So it's just so clever and evil at the same time.
Like you're gonna try to kill yourself and then you're just gonna make your pain worse.
Worse and just continue to prolong it. I mean, you might die quicker. It might cause you to like bleed out, I guess.
Yeah,
but it would still be like a lot of pain for a very long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the Fork of the Heretic.
Okay, so my last one is breaking on the wheel. This was very popular and widespread in ancient and medieval times. It was one of the most painful and most shameful executions that you could get. It was mostly used on murderers, rapists, thieves, and traitors.
Oh, okay.
So what would happen is you'd be taken to a public scaffold, so like on, like basically like a little stage, right? You'd be then tied to the ground first, and then they use this wheel and drop it starting on your shin, break your bone, and then like work up to your femur and just keep on working up, breaking bones along the way.
Jesus.
Right. Like your ribs, your all of it, right? And then you're all mangled, right?
Yeah.
And you can be bent in a lot more ways.
Oh my god.
And so they would take your mangled body and like harness you to this wheel, like having your limbs, your broken limbs, like woven through the wooden like spoke.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
know what you mean.
So you're like woven through the spokes and then like tied on it, being all broken boned and miserable. Then it's kind of like the crucifix and the cross.
Mhm.
Like they take the wheel and they like put it up on like a pole, some sort of
Like they display it?
yes.